In a world where innocence meets the cruel reality of war, there exists a story of two young boys whose unlikely friendship transcends boundaries of hate, prejudice, and even life itself. This is the story of Bruno and Shimeon from the book The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. A story that at one point in time was all too real. It's a tale that will reach your heart, make you weep uncontrollably, and leave you with an ache that lingers long after the story ends. Prepare yourself, for this is not just a story. It's a story that will stay with you, making your heart ache in ways you will never imagine. Set during the height of World War II, when the world was burning with fear and hatred, and millions of innocent lives were being lost in the shadows of power. This story doesn't focus on the battlefield. It doesn't follow soldiers or journals. It follows two children. One, the son of a Nazi commandant, and the other, a Jewish prisoner. And through their eyes, we are reminded of something the world forgot during those years, that compassion, innocence, and love can still exist in even the darkest place. Bruno was just a little boy, 8 years old, full of questions and wonder. His life in Berlin was filled with stories, laughter, and the comfort of family. But everything changed when his father was promoted. The family had to move to a cold, isolated place called Auschwitz, the most feared concentration camp of its time. The house they moved into was completely silent and lifeless. Bruno missed his friends. His sister Gretel was too busy trying to grow up too fast. And his mother, she was breaking inside as she knew what is coming up in near future. And then there was that fence, tall, endless, separating their yard from a strange place filled with people who looked tired, empty, and wore the same striped clothes. One afternoon, while wandering along the fence, Bruno saw a boy on the other side. Skinny, shaved head, eyes full of quiet sorrow. His name was Shimeon. Bruno didn't know what it meant to be a Jewish, or why Shimeon was behind that fence. He only knew one thing: he had found a friend. They started meeting every day. Bruno would bring scraps of food. They would sit across the wire and talk about everything: ball games, adventures, their families. Bruno would talk about Berlin, and Shimeon would share quiet pieces of a life that had been ripped apart. Bruno didn't understand it at all, but he listened, and that was enough for Shimeon. Shimeon was fading, his body thin from hunger, his spirit dimmed by cruelty. He talked about how his father had disappeared inside the camp, just gone like so many others. Bruno couldn't imagine such a thing. He didn't understand the world around him was built on complete hatred. He didn't realize his father was one of the men running it. One day, Shimeon was brought into Bruno's house to clean. He was given scraps to eat. Bruno offered him some cake, but when a soldier found Shimeon eating, he accused him of stealing. And Bruno, terrified, said he didn't know him. Shimeon was beaten, and Bruno was left with guilt he couldn't name. But still, Shemuel forgave him because all he wanted was a friend. Then came the moment that changed everything. Shemuel still couldn't find his father, and Bruno, desperate to make it right, said he would help. He would crawl under the fence, wear a pair of striped pajamas, and search with him. He thought it would be an adventure, just one more story to tell. Rain poured from the sky that day. The ground was wet, the world grey. Bruno left his clothes folded by the fence and slipped under, into the heart of camp. No turning back. Inside, the boys held hands and searched, but they were quickly caught in a group of prisoners being herded into a chamber. Cold, dark, silent. Bruno thought it was a shelter. He didn't understand the terror in Shemuel's eyes as the door closed behind them. Bruno whispered, "You are my best friend, Shemuel." And Shemuel, trembling, held his hand and said, "My best friend for life." Inside that fence was a world stripped of humanity. A world where children didn't play, they survived. Where laughter had long been forgotten. Where hope came in whispers, if it come at all. Each day began before dawn. Prisoners, men, women, children were dragged from freezing barricades. Barefoot, sick, exhausted, counted like cattle, then forced into labor meant to punish, not produce, digging, howling, breaking stones, just in silence. They were given scraps, stale bread, thin soap, just enough to suffer longer. If they collapsed, if they slowed, they were beaten, shot, and forgotten. Children like Shemuel watched their families disappear. Father wasted away. Mothers vanished into medical buildings. Brothers were taken, never to return. No explanations, just absence. And then there were sections. Some random ruthless guards pointed. Prisoners obeyed, told they were going to bathe, but led to guest chambers. Families held hands. Some went alone. All were lied to. The gas came quietly. It choked, burned, silenced. Bodies crumbled. Screams faded. And when it was over, they were dragged out, stacked, burned, erased, as if they never mattered. Bruno stepped into that world, unaware. He saw rain, mud, fear, but not the starvation, not the scars, not the years of pain carved into faces. He didn't know the world had already ended with those fences. And now he was part of it, not from hate, not from belief, but from love, because he chose to stand beside his friend. What happened next was silence. The huge door closed. The hiss of the air was the last sound they heard. It was complete dark in that room. Within seconds, the room filled with invisible poison. A chemical dropped from the vents in the ceiling. The air turned heavy. Every breath was a struggle. Panic set in. The prisoners crawled from space, for air, for hope. But there was none. Bruno and Shemuel were likely pushed into the corner of the chamber. swallowed by a sea of bodies, desperate to escape the unescapable. Shouts turned to screams, screams into choking, and then stillness. They were found the next day, just two of many. Two small, silent figures in a room, meant to erase them. Their bodies, like countless others, were removed by the men first, prisoners themselves. They were stripped, searched for anything of value, and taken to be burned. No name was called, no prayer was said, no grave was dug. Bruno's clothes were discovered folded neatly by the fence. But by the time anyone realized he was gone, it was too late. His mother wept. His sister stared blankly. His father, once proud, once blind, was broken. Days later, he stood at the edge of the same gas chamber, hollow and haunted. The commandant who helped build the camp had now destroyed the very thing he loved the most. Bruno and Shmuel were gone, not because of hate, but because a child crossed a line meant to divide human from inhuman, and chose to stand beside a friend. Their ashes rose with thousands of others into the grey skies of Auschwitz, lost to history, carried by wind, mourned by none. But their story survived. Let this story stay with you, not just as a tale of two boys, but as a haunting reflection of the world we live in, and the world we must never become again. History cannot be rewritten, but it can surely be repeated if we forget. So carry their story with you, not just the sorrow, but the lesson. Let Bruno and Shmuel's friendship remind you to choose kindness when it's hardest, to speak up when others stay silent, to protect innocence whenever it still exists, and to never, ever look away. If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's remember it. Let's learn from it. If you would like me to read The Boy in Striped Pajamas chapter by chapter, so we can walk through every page together, just let me know in the comments. And if stories like this stay with you, subscribe for more voices and more truths and more moments that echo lifelong after the words have ended.